morning. It is I, Sir Raven. I just got back in from the longest walk ever. The longest walk ever. I did my morning routine, which I said I was going to try to do more walking. So I got up this morning. I should say I woke up this morning at 7:30, not because I had to go to work, which give thanks and praises, but because I had enough sleep. Again, give thanks and praises. And I laid in bed and luxuriated until 8 o'clock. Got up, did the usual thing, made my coffee, and decided in my stretching, because I do some stretching in the morning, and I decided that I would do some walking. So I've been on this walking kind of journey. I'm going to get some more exercise. I've been really pushing myself and doing what I need to do. And when I say push myself, I don't mean push myself to where I'm exhausted. But if I say I want to walk like 10 blocks, then I walk 10 blocks. If I can walk another block, I walk another block. I'm not trying to stress it. Anyway, so I get up, I go inside, I look at the Tracy Towers, and I'm stretching and I'm doing my thing, and then I start walking. And I'm enjoying my walk. It's not a fast walk. It's not a brisk walk. It's just a regular walk. Listening to my music, or I listen to a podcast, not a man's podcast, but like the Founders podcast that I like to listen to, or I listen to an audiobook. Just walking. And when I need to stop walking, I stop and I rest. So I made a determination today that I would walk from Tracy Towers and try to walk. My goal was to the courthouse, which is on 161st Street. And if you know anything about the Bronx or the Grand Concourse, them some long ass hella blocks. But I was determined. I'm walking, really enjoying myself, contemplating, enjoying my surroundings. Really nice that obviously in the morning when you pass people, they say good morning. Mom was like, oh, this is fantastic. This reminds me of when I was growing up, how people would say good morning to each other. Anyway, so I'm walking and walking. I didn't make it to the courthouse, but I did make it to the Bronx Museum. There's a Bronx Museum on the Grand Concourse. I probably could have made it, but I was like really tired at this point. That museum is on 106th Street, maybe, in the Grand Concourse, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. 167th. Yeah, I could see the court, well, not really see it, but I knew the courthouse was down there, but I just couldn't do it. So I stopped and took a little break, did some deep breathing, did some contemplating, and was going to turn back and come back uptown. While I was doing that, I had this thought that I had been trying to get my booster, my COVID-19 booster shot, for a minute now. I made several appointments, missed those appointments, made several appointments again, went to the wrong Walgreens. But anyway, so I'm standing there, I'm walking back. And when I take my break, after I was contemplating this, I stopped to see if I can make an appointment, because you have to make an appointment to get this thing at Walgreens. I stop and I lean up against one of the buildings or whatever. And this person who was walking behind me says, when he's walking behind me and then he passes me because I lean up against the building, and they say to me, oh, you're like a lady in the front, but you walk like a dude. You look like a dude from the back. Like the way you walk is like a dude from the back. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't know whether to be insulted or complimented. Anyway, so he kept walking, which was a blessing because I thought he was going to try to talk to me. And then anyway, so I make my appointment. I can find a Walgreens. It's not far. It's like on my way. And I determined that, okay, I'm going to walk in. I can walk and make it there. But if I see that I can't, I can just jump on the bus because I do have a Metro card. But I made it. It was far, but it wasn't that far. And it was like out of the way, but it was cool because it's Saturday. I'm just really chilling and doing my own thing. I'm in no real rush. So I get to the Walgreens. They have a QR code. They say scan it. You have the appointment. I scanned it. It says you're checked in. Oh, this is cool. Get there. It was early, of course. I sit down. There's a few people there. And I'm waiting. It's 10 o'clock. And I'm waiting. It's cool. My appointment was for 10:20. And so the pharmacist comes out around 10:20, opens the door, calls somebody, the lady goes inside, and whatever. She comes out, and I'm still sitting there, and it's cool. I am sitting there. I'm not ready to jump and whatever. My appointment was for 10:20. It didn't happen. The lady came. She was already there when I got there. She got called. I figured the pharmacist needs to do a little something. They'll get it together and they'll call me. So now it's 10:30, and I said, let me get on this line. And I got on the line, and I waited. By the time I get to the counter, it is like 10:40, 10:45. Which, again, I'm in no rush. I'm good. I tell the person behind the counter I have an appointment. She's on the appointment. I say 10:20. She looks at me funny. I'm like, don't even play. So we have a little conversation. And she says, okay, sit down, and the pharmacist will call me. Now, here's the thing I wanted to ask her, and I did. I was like, why make the appointment ahead of time, scan the QR code to check in, and then still have to come to the counter to check in? But I understand it's not her problem. America. That's not as efficient as it seemed like it wanted to be, but it's just not. Anyway, so I sit down, and I should have gotten my thing. I sit down, and I wait for the pharmacist to call me, and they call me. We go into the little room, and she's asking me all the questions. Cool, no. And she gives me the shot. Bong. Point, she says, we've had this before. You may feel a little lightheaded or whatever, so sit down and do some shopping, stay in the store. And I go, yeah, I'm going to sit down. And I'm handing her my card, which I don't have with me now because it's in my bag over there. My vaccine card. The card I got when I first got vaccinated. And got the other booster before. So I'm handing her this card, and she goes, oh, I don't need that. And I was like, what do you mean you don't need it? She said, oh, we don't do that anymore. And I was like, what do you mean you don't do it anymore? And okay, so here's the thing. I was born in 1963, and that means that I know about vaccines. Like, I was vaccinated when I was born, and I had booster shots, and I had the little mark on my arm because polio. So when I was handing her this card, she was like, oh, we don't do that anymore. I was like, what do you mean? Because I remember, and this is just me off to a side saying, when I was growing up, my mother had like a book or something. It was like the vaccination book for us. Like, we all had these little books that kept track of your shit. Anyway, so she says, oh, no, we don't use it because people were laminating it or they just didn't have it anymore. And I was like, okay, that's fine and good. I still have mine. Would you please update it? And she goes, no, we don't really have to do that. It's okay. I was like, I understand it's okay, but in my community, we like to know that a person's got their booster and these kinds of things. And she was like, just say that you did. And she said, so I said, I understand that, but I still need... Because in my community, this is what we're asking for. And I don't want to have to pay to take a test to show that I don't have COVID when I could just show my card. Anyway. She says it's still not necessary. And so I say, look, lady, I survived the 70s without getting a fucking STD. I survived the 80s where certain communities were letting other communities die. Epidemic, pandemic, killing people left and right. And I survived that. And also, with this pandemic, epidemic, I survived it as well. Can you please just do the thing so that I can have it? She goes, your doctor will know that you got your booster because you're in my chart. And I was like, I'm not talking about the doctor. I'm talking about like my community. And so she goes on and on. And I have to tell her all of this. I'm telling her all of this in this little room. So you go into this little room. And I said, look, I'm not sure what the issue is. But as I said, my community survived certain things. And I survived it because I'm here to talk about it. And I'm not sure if you know that the AIDS epidemic killed a lot of gay people, mainly gay men. And it was us lesbians that took care of them. We're the ones who wiped their ass and fed them and cleaned their houses and did all of the fucking things so that they can be healthy or they can have help. And we brought our community together in this way. And I survived this. I survived touching people with AIDS. You know what I'm saying? Would you just update this goddamn card? She refused to do it. And she said, I have this to prove that I was vaccinated. So I have to walk around with this now, which is stupid to me. And I opened the door to leave this little room, and lo and behold, there are people on the line. There were people on the line before, but I didn't realize I was talking so loud. And they all stopped and looked at me, and I looked at them. And one of the guys, because men are like that, men are like, yeah, sister, you tell them. And that is when the L became the first letter in LGBT. Because up until then, it was GLBT. And so also, I'm telling you all this to say, I don't know if anybody else didn't get their card stamped or whatever the fuck we're supposed to do, or just walk around with this. But I want to say that on this day, October 5th, 2024, at approximately 11:11 a.m., I became the crotchety. I'm not going to say crotchety, because I wasn't really crotchety. I was just fucking mad. Yeah, I'm going to say crotchety. I became the leather Dyke that was raging against the machine in the Walgreens. Now you know.